Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. Jansen Harris here with the final play on the Just Good Network. Joining me is Mo, the voice of Mo. She
That's it.
knows what she's talking about. She tried to warn me, telling me all the talent that the Bulls have. They're 3-0. Look, it's early, Mo, but
It is. It
first of all,
is.
how are you doing? Let me stop. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing pretty good. Got off work, did a little workout. And when you sent me the topics and I seen the Bulls, I was like, yep, I gotta talk about the Bulls.
Shoot, speaking of workout, I got to get a workout in after this. I gotta pump some iron, try to get a little cardio, drop off some weight. But yeah, Mo, transitioning back to the Bulls, what's going right for them so far for Billy Donovan and this Bulls team that, again, a lot of talent, loaded talent, and people are expecting a lot from them?
Yeah, I think when they in the offseason they did all those trades and they got the players in, you got Zach LaVine back. They added DeMar DeRozan, which I still think he's one of the best players and he's very underrated. And people don't talk about him enough. And they added Ball and Caruso. And when I saw these trades, I was like, okay, the Bulls are on to something. And with this team, they can get out and run. The defense is going crazy right now, and they've been turning, their defense into points on the offensive end as well. And I like the way they fit together. So they're doing pretty good. And also the bench is they pretty much giving more than what I thought they would give, as bench players and role players. So the Bulls, to me, they looking phenomenal. I'm ready for the Knicks game to see how they match up well against them because the Knicks have been doing pretty good this season so far. So I'm waiting on that to, kind of put my final input in about the Bulls.
So far, I'll say this: I think Lonzo Ball, he pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Pretty comfortable having the triple double. And I love the way he's shooting the ball from the 3-point line. I think that Lonzo Ball is comfortable. DeRozan, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of surprised how well he's playing, fitting in. We all know that he could ball. We all know that he's a team player. He's played at some of the highest levels. And this signing for the Bulls, I feel like was a motivational thing because a lot of people look at him and we're like, okay, maybe he can't play anymore. I was one of those guys. Maybe I was crazy, but so far, so good. I think Billy Donovan is showing like, look, you put the right players around me. I'm going to coach these guys up. Vucevic, he's been playing well, almost 13 rebounds a game. He's playing tough. Zach LaVine, he wants to go to the playoffs. He wants to prove that, hey, I could be a guy who could win. I could be a guy who could carry a team. Look, Mo, moving forward with this Bulls team, and yes, it is young in the season, and you made a lot of great points. What do you think the ceiling is for this year for this Bulls team? Like the best that you think this team could do?
So if they keep up the same pace and playing the way they're playing right now, I'm throwing them in at the fourth seed. I'm putting them
Wow.
there. That's why I want to put them. But like I said before, I like what they look so comfortable. Like they look like they've been playing together for a while. I think the offseason really was something that the Bulls needed, especially adding these pieces together. And a lot of people had a little bit of doubts about DeMar DeRozan and LaVine playing together since, they're kind of the same players, but I think it's doing pretty good.
Absolutely. Let's transition to the other undefeated team. This in the Western Conference, the Warriors, 3-0. What are they doing right now, Mo? What are you seeing from this Warriors team?
Well, in off season, they did something similar. They went out and got some good draft picks, some good role players that are bringing what they need, and you about to get the Splash Brothers back. You got the old Warriors together. You got Draymond, you got Iguodala, you got Clay. He's coming back soon, probably like in a month or two. He should be back. And Curry just dropped 45. It's the Warriors. They're always going to be a top contending team as long as they have their key players in. So I think they're doing pretty good. And I also think they added Jordan Poole. He's been doing pretty good as well.
Absolutely. Jordan Poole, I'm glad you brought that up. He's averaging 17 points a game. He looks comfortable. He doesn't look shy at all. He's aggressive. I just feel a new energy from him. There's people in media and others who told me, look, Jordan Poole, not a bad player. Again, only 3 games, but so far Jordan Poole's playing well. I think Wiggins Even though the
Yeah,
points per game isn't that high, I think Wiggins is playing well on defense. He's putting the pressure on offenses. I think Wiggins also, his shot selection, I think, is pretty good. So I
yeah,
think so far, this Warriors team, I don't know if they're championship contenders, but I like what I'm seeing outside of Steph Curry. Even though Steph Curry's been amazing, 31 points a game. He also is averaging 9 rebounds and 7 assists, leading the team in all three of those categories so far, which is just amazing. Him continuing to play at a high level at 33 years old. But again, we have to credit some of the role players. We have to credit Steve Kerr for continuing to have this team motivated. This is a humble team right now, and it's a hungry team because not a lot of people believe in them. A lot of people still think the Lakers are the class of the West, even though they were exited out in the first round, or the Suns, teams like that, or the Clippers when they're at full strength. So I think this Warriors team as a whole is taking over that personality that we have something to prove. And you mentioned it too, with Klay Thompson coming back. Wow. Talk about a big chip on his shoulder with the 77 jersey, them
right.
making fun of him and kind of trolling him because of him not making on the top 75, even though he believes he should be there. So to me, yes, he's probably going to be a little bit rusty, but I think he's going to play well. I think he's going to use that as motivation. Do you see Klay kind of using that as motivation? Like, okay, people really don't think I'm one of the top 75 players ever.
Of course, I don't think Clay will back down from something like that, especially missing it by so close. And people kind of trolling him about that. I feel like he's coming back with a bigger point to prove. He already has a point to prove. He's been out for a while. Everybody's like, "Oh, where's Clay? The Warriors are not the team they used to be, and all this." And yeah, I feel like Clay, he got a point to prove.
Absolutely. Let's transition to rookies in the NBA. Who's somebody that you've been impressed by so far, or somebody that we have to also keep our eye on moving forward?
So I've always, been impressed by Jaylen Green, especially him coming in at that number 2 spot behind Cade Cunningham. I've always said he's going to come in with a point to prove. He's doing pretty good. He's 47% from the three, 44 from the field goal. He's doing pretty good. But Evan Mobley with the Cavs, the big man, I like what he's doing. I like him a lot. He's the one that impressed me the most. Because since I'm kind of biased towards Jaylen Green, I had to throw an extra one in there.
Absolutely. You look at Evan Mobley, almost 16 points a game, 8 rebounds. He's physical.
Right,
Already 2.3 blocks a game. He's not, I feel like he's just going out there and playing basketball.
right,
And a lot of times the center position isn't the most glamorous position in the world. But
right,
again, with this young Cavs team, I think he's going to have every opportunity in the world to learn because
right,
this team is with Sexton. This team, it's not that talented of a team. It's a very young team, and I think Mobley. And he was doing a lot of this stuff at USC. He's showing how versatile of a player he is and how physical he could be. I would love to see him continue to block shots at a high level. I think defensively, he's going to have to take over. Offensively, show that skill, get in the paint, and be physical. I think
right.
Evan Mobley has been the most impressive, and he's being physical on both sides of the court. So far, Evan Mobley's also my guy that I'm looking at. It's 3 games in. Yeah, it's still early, but he's looked impressive to me. Let's talk about a team that has a lot of high expectations. Yes, it's the Lakers, but the other Los Angeles team, the Clippers. How are you viewing this Clippers team? What do you think the expectations are, especially if they could stay healthy? A lot of people thought that if Kawhi Leonard wasn't out injured, this team would have been in the finals. What do you expect from the Clippers this season?
That's my biggest thing right now. Them being healthy. You have Serge out. You got Kawhi out. Right now, Paul George is carrying a team, but it can't be a one man show, especially with the Clippers. They have to have Kawhi in being a dominator and coming back. I feel like they're not ready just yet. But I did see an interview with Kawhi. He said he's not leaving the Clippers. So hopefully in the future he will get that championship he's looking for there. But right now I'm just not seeing it. It's just I'm not buying into it just yet.
To me, I'm not gonna buy into them going to the finals. I think it's gonna be the Lakers. But when I look at playoff P, And when I look at Kawhi Leonard, when this team is healthy, and that's the big question mark, they could compete with anybody. They could
Right.
compete with anybody. I think the Lakers are a little bit better and could probably beat them in 6 games. But to me, that's my number 2 team in the Western Conference when they're healthy. I think Kawhi is that good. That team is that good, but the health, they need to stay healthy. I think Paul George, there's so much pressure on him to succeed and play well in the playoffs, and he did that. He carried the Clippers for a lot of games. I believe the Clippers, their expectations, the way they feel is that they could go to the finals. That's how Tyronn Lue feels this team and how well they could do. But the
Right.
question is going to be health, and the question is going to be how they're going to stop that offense of the Lakers. Even though the Lakers are struggling, how are they going to stop the Lakers? I think it's going to come down to that. And again, Lakers health as well too. Will the Lakers stay healthy? The Suns, they're not going to be just lay over and just go away. The Warriors
Right.
are going to be there. But again, I have the Clippers as my second best team in the Western Conference. Mo, let's see what they do moving forward. Let's talk about Carmelo Anthony. We got to close with the Lakers. Carmelo Anthony, monster game, helping the Lakers win their first game of the season. What was your thoughts watching Carmelo? Looked like he turned the clock back a little bit.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised with Melo. I've been looking for this Melo, and each game I have to go back to the stat sheet. I have to go back and look at what he's doing or what any player that I'm focusing on. I have to see what they're doing. And each game you can see it. His minutes go up, so his points go up. His minutes go up and his points go up. So 28 minutes and 28 points. It's Melo. We know Melo is one of the best scorers in the game. We've all known that. We've seen Melo in Denver do it. We've seen him with the Knicks. We know what he can do. So I expect to see Melo on the floor a lot more. And honestly, Melo saved the day. With Russ
Absolutely.
having those turnovers, Melo came in and he saved the day.
Absolutely. Look, 18 of those 28 points were in the second half. He's ninth on the scoring list. Carmelo Anthony, when we look back at his career, 19 years and still going, as he said, one of the greatest scorers of all time, like you just mentioned, Mo. But there's just one thing missing from his resume, and he's my favorite basketball player ever. He's my favorite. It's that championship, and he knows this is one of the most focused years for him. This is it. This is really it. This is his final dance. You feel me? This is his last dance. Carmelo Anthony, this is the closest. I thought he should have been on the Lakers a couple years ago. I'm not even going to lie. But this is the closest he's ever going to get to a championship. It's either now or never. For Russell Westbrook, too, it's now or never. It's pretty obvious. There's going to be a lot of pressure because it's the Lakers. Anybody who plays on the Lakers, it's a lot of pressure, especially with LeBron James in town, which he's been playing well. Anthony Davis. But are the role players going to step up? Is Russell Westbrook going to step up? That's going to be the question because people don't want to hear about the failures. There's no excuses for this Lakers team. It's either championship or bust. That's how I feel about it. Are you feeling the same way about this Lakers team where there's no way they could explain losing a championship?
It is, and I've said this because I watched the Lakers the entire season. When they made all these moves, I was like, all right, this is the team I got to keep my eye on because they can be great, but then it can go wrong all at the same time. In the beginning, I know it's early, but I'm the type of person I'd rather get on top of something before it gets me. And with Russ' situation, he just got to slow down. If Russ can give a double-digit point every night and cut his turnovers in half, the Lakers will be A-okay because we know they can do it with the bench. We know AD is going to come in and give you his points. We know LeBron is going to do his thing. We just got to get Russ to take away some of those turnovers, and they'll be perfectly fine.
Do you think they need to maybe take the ball out of his hands, maybe use him more in that shooting guard-like role, and maybe not have him bring the ball up or be so ball dominant? I know that's how he is as a player, but do you think there's a little bit too much pressure to get him the ball and get him going early on this season? Is that what you're saying?
I feel like if we take the ball out of his hands early, it's gonna bite us at the end. So in the beginning, we know it's an 82 game season, so we have to keep the ball in his hands. But he has to learn that hey, you can't push like you did when you was with the Wizards because this is not that type of team. You can't push like you did with the Thunder because that's not the offensive plays that we're running. You have to be smart about your passes and know your surroundings at all times. I just feel like he just got to slow down a little bit more and get a feel for the offenses or create offenses that are geared towards him. Give him one or two offenses that are geared towards him and let him run those throughout. Let him get comfortable. Let him get that feel. And he has to remember that, hey, my turnovers is affecting my entire team right now.
Absolutely great breakdown on that, Mo. Jansen Harris here with the voice of Mo. Go follow her on Instagram and Twitter. Another phenomenal job. This is the final play on the Jessica Network. We're presented by Your Future Media and the GGC Game Room. Thank you, Mo.
No
Great
problem.
always.